Designed for the world of low-dollar racing.
An oddball car culture.
It doesn't matter what kind of Limit Champ or Lucky Track Dog league you run.
SCCA or NASA, we won't discriminate.
As long as you drive it hard and build it yourself.
Join us each week for tech discussions,
tips and tricks, as well as news and notes.
From the world of amateur endurance racing.
And whether it's on the spot, hello sweet when we're lucky enough, and Chrissy.
And I give you just the tip.
We're sure you'll giggle a little and learn even less.
Everyone report to the paddock.
This is Chris.
Nope, you must be on mute or we can hear you.
Yeah, this is Chris.
Yeah, this is Chrissy.
Oh, and
we're such a hot mess tonight.
We are.
As the regulars are no doubt well aware, we are everyone racers.
More so than normal.
The Genesis episode. It's episode 311. The Wartburg 311 was a car produced by East German car manufacturer VEB Automobilwerk Insak from 1956 to 1965.
Did I say it right?
Variations. I have no idea.
VEB Automobilwerk Eisenach.
There we go.
There's an extra syllable in the middle there.
They made a pickup, a sedan, a limousine, a coupe, and even a 2-seat roadster. And if you are not going to enter an essay contest to win and abandon Wartburg sedan and build it into a lemons car that will become the foundation for a race team and ultimately a podcast 14 years later, well, you can open up the E1R bigger car. I mean, it's not as cool, but you might get something out of it.
You never know.
Maybe. You never know. All right. And as we are a bit scattered, we'll lead right into what you're working on. Chris
is working on stuff.
I've been working on the porch. I've tore all the siding off the porch inside and out. I have pressure washed it. I have stained a lot of it, which is a very slow, tedious process over days to get it restained. I should have sprayed it. Next time I'm going to spray it. Go buy the sprayer, the $75 sprayer from Harder Freight, the airless paint sprayer. Totally worth it. I'm guessing it's got to be better than what I'm doing right now. Getting all the supplies and crap like that. And it was raining one day, so I did a lot of I hung up 17 pictures in the house to try to make the house
yay,
like a house. We've only been here
only
for
because
years,
I told him that I needed them hung.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so all that fun stuff. Good times. Yep. Chrissy, what do you do?
Yeah. So in addition to that, Chris was outside staining and working on the house. I was doing a deep clean because we've been away a lot this summer. We realized that there was 2 weekends since about late
Mid-May.
April. Early April, early May. Since we've been home, and both of those weekends were busy. So I've neglected much of the house, and it was one of those things I got crazy on just clean out the whole fridge and just take everything out that's been old. And I went through cabinets and stuff, clean the bathrooms, just one of those things you just get so gross with your house. And it's not gross. We're very clean people, but just get to a point where you're just I just need to know what's in my house. So I got there and did a lot of cleaning. Yeah, we're really, really productive this weekend, but not any car work whatsoever. Nope, no car work.
That's probably why you were so productive.
Probably. Then we had some football.
Well, the race car's done. I don't need to do anything. The Corvette's good. It's up for sale. The NSX is an NSX. It doesn't need anything. Yep.
Yeah. There you go.
Yep. Exciting stuff.
Yeah. As I told everyone when I got back to work on Monday, I drove for 12 hours to drive for 24 hours to drive home for 12 hours and go back to work. Somewhere I think I picked up, I've got an eye infection. I've been going through Visine.
Oh no. Oh, Visine is probably not the right answer for an eye infection.
Well, it I think it's just a bunch of dirt and itchy, scratchy stuff and diesel smoke. So it's irritated and it makes it feel better.
Okay,
right?
good.
And that laugh you just heard is a new voice, and that is Dan Sloat. Now, Dan is an old Air Force buddy. And in his time since leaving the Air Force, in time since I've left the Air Force, I grew my hair. Dan, on the other hand, earned a master's in economics, another master's in business administration, and his law degree. That's right, Jeff. This is Dan, my friend, the doctor. Now, Chrissy, he is also an avid sailor. He's up in Boston, so just up the road. You guys may have
fun.
past each other when you're at the Cape or something. I don't know. For the show's purpose, he is the founder and president of the Advanced Air Mobility Institute. And we're going to talk about that in just a minute. But I don't feel quite bad enough about wasting my decade in there. We should know what Dan has been working on recently. Dan, what you been working on?
Mental, great to see you. I'll say that it's always good catching up with old friends from the Air Force. I am the parent of a as my girlfriend likes to say, the parent of a what we thought was a lab rescue. He just turned 1 year old. His name's Deacon, in fact, my call sign from the Air Force. So we've been, trying to train him as best we can. And still getting into kind of oddball hobbies. In Boston, we've got this new kind of indoor combat archery, right? It looks like a huge marshmallow tip at the end, and it's a lot like a paintball course, you might imagine, arena. But yeah, you just slinging arrows. That's been a lot of fun. But also where I can squeeze it in, I've been trying a little bit of stand-up comedy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Boston, of course, some pretty decent names coming through. Mike Birbiglia, and in particular, there's this guy Tony V. He's kind of like this old wise comedian, and I got to study under him recently. I'll say that his feedback was, I don't know what to make of it. I do like my type 5, and but then he goes, yeah, that's cute.
Oh, that's cute. It depends on the tone, because if I say that, I don't know that that's not so positive, but maybe he was meaning it in a great way.
Yeah, he's a tough guy. He mentored Bill Burr.
Okay.
Right. So he's got quite a bit of credibility. He actually opened for Bill Burr when he as the first comedian to play Fenway Park.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a tough venue to fill.
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
Well, and it's not like Boston has any kind of a history with comedy. You don't have Dennis Leary or Mark Maron got their start there or any of that kind of stuff. So,
and they're definitely not difficult audiences either.
Not at all. They're very kind, very patient. They'll accept you for who you are. No, not us East Coasters. Nope.
I've never gotten anything thrown at me, fortunately.
Yet.
Good. You haven't gone to Philly.
Yeah.
No, you got to go to your
Philly.
You got to go to your indoor combat range for that one.
Exactly.
Oh, all right. If you are listening, we are going to skip because Dan is a busy person and he's got calls. We are going to do news and notes real quick, and then we're just actually going to jump right into the main topic.
So, yeah.
Okay. Oh, news and notes time. Sorry, I was like,
Thank
Chris,
you.
just start reading. Got it.
America's best-selling pickup, actually best-selling vehicle overall, is getting a refresh. By the time you hear this, the embargo on the 2024 F-150 will be lifted, but we got the advanced release for you, dear listener. Of course, Ford is keeping the box steel frame and aluminum alloy body, but now it has Blue Cruise hands-free operation, multi-function tailgate, and hybrid models with 3 levels of pro power output ranging from 2 to 7.2 kilowatts. Ford claims the highest output is enough to power a mobile welding shop for 32 hours straight.
Wow.
They don't tell you what voltage and how much.
No,
speed
you
they're
can just
running,
carry
but
the welder. You just can't run it.
yeah, you can for a little while. Sure. Hey, at the very least, that's pretty cool. What's the F-150 losing? The V8. Cue bald eagle tears everywhere. That you can't buy a V8 an American pickup. New standard engine is a 2.7 EcoBoost. Optional upgrades are various levels of 3.5 EcoBoost, Power Boost, high outputs, etc. You can still get a V8 though if you go to the Raptor R. That gets a V8 with a supercharger. That's when you can say America again.
Can you still bring the welder with you?
No, that one doesn't power the welder.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to be able to power the welder.
You could
No.
drive or power the welder. That's what you got.
Yeah. That's what you
Good.
I feel like there's an opportunity right there for
Noted.
like the Racers Special F-150. It comes in, lemons yellow, and it comes with the matching welder for when you inevitably have to fix your busted race car at 2:00 on a Friday night.
I mean, people would be pretty happy with that because we know a guy who brings a welder and he uses it. Somebody asks for it probably every time. So
You remember the old Trek Jetta or like the K2 Jetta? They'd give them
Yeah.
skis or a bike. They need the Lincoln or the Miller edition F-150. It's blue and has a welder in the back.
I mean, we should
Way
just do
better.
that. Why don't we just
Yeah.
do that? Okay.
Yeah.
We need more projects. Anyway,
Yep.
by the
Next.
time this airs, the United Auto Workers may be on strike. The strike deadline is 11:59 Eastern on Thursday, September 14th, and it has been 4 years since their last one. Tim Stevens at the Car and Driver has the latest on what the strike may mean for consumers. With increased inventory, we are seeing an increase in incentives, 5.2% of MSRP in August, says Alex Yurchenko, an industry analyst with Black Book. The market impact is exactly what you expect, just as prices were starting to normalize. Another industry analyst, Ambrose Conroy with Seraph, said incentives will disappear very soon as after a strike is called, so consumers are looking for a deal should buy now. Choices will become limited as automakers will again focus on production in the highest profit vehicles they can make, and on-hand inventory will likely sell quickly. More as this develops. Link in our notes.
All right. Now, anyone who's ever purchased a basket case Porsche 928 after a targeted Facebook ad understands that privacy is a very fluid concept in our modern era.
This is not personal at all.
Your phone, your smart speaker, they're listening to your every conversation, and the data is available to the highest bidder. But the worst offenders, of course, if we're talking about it, it's automobiles. Todd Lassa at Auto Week has covered a damning report from the free software community Mozilla Foundation. And their report concludes that your car has, quote, the ability to gather super intimate information, including medical history, genetic information, how fast you drive, where you drive, what songs you play in the vehicle, even your sex life, which oddly enough, if you have a basket case 928, non-existent. Of course, from this, more data can be inferred, including your owner's intelligence, reference earlier comment, abilities, and interests. And after studying 25 automakers' user agreements, they discovered that 21 of them allow the automaker to share the owner's personal data. 19 of them allow the brand to sell the data, and 14 of them say that they can share your information with a government, a law enforcement in response to a request, not a warrant, a request. So all of a sudden, my Porsche 914 is looking pretty darn good.
I don't know that that's a thing.
What,
914
914 looking good?
Oh, you're 914. No,
No,
I thought
it
you meant the
definitely
one. I was
doesn't
trying to
look
think
good.
of the one things that no, in your garage. Sorry.
Yeah.
Everything in my garage, all the personal data it's gathering is going, this guy's lost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Hey, you said it, not us. It's
Yep.
okay.
All right. So news
Okay.
and notes. Now we're jumping right to.
Yes. Well, we already did nose and notes. So yes, it is main topic time as I try to scroll down, and then I scroll too far because I'm not very smart. All right.
Right.
Now, as we mentioned, our guest is Dan Sloat. He is a pilot. He is the president of the Advanced Air Mobility Institute, which is a registered 503c3 nonprofit. And it is about educating and advocating for the public, broadcasting the public benefit of unmanned aerial systems. And that's kind of like just the start, because this is deeper than that. Dan, tell us about it.
Yes. So the Advanced Air Mobility Institute, this is something that's been in the works for over a year now. Started building out kind of the core team. The idea being there's this really exciting emerging technology in the field of aviation. One of the easiest ways to think about it is essentially they've taken drone technology, kind of supersized it, the power to weight ratio for electric batteries are finally at that point where we can now start carrying human passengers. They're often nicknamed air taxis, but the idea being now, if you need to make a trip from for example, one side of Philadelphia to the other, why not fly? Right. So a lot of people, of course, they're thinking of Jetsons, maybe Back to the Future. We see it throughout, pop culture. It's something that people have been looking forward to for quite a while. And it's just around the corner.
We did cover something. It was Abu Dhabi just recently, like fully tested one.
Exactly. And it's interesting because, of course, certain governments, you kind of see the value, right? Democracies, we got to get everyone or the majority of people on board, right, before any kind of new technology is made available, to the average citizen. Other forms of government, given due credit, it's just, one guy or one gal just kind of making that decision, right? So you can be quicker to market, in certain forms of government. And so, we see the Middle East really being kind of like a front runner in this space. In fact, one of the projects that we're exploring is actually launching a multimodal race series, an endurance race. The idea being really trying to showcase just how far electric mobility has come. So this race, we're looking at the coast right along the Red Sea there in Saudi Arabia. So starting with the first leg with electric cars, then transitioning to a nearby port for an electric boat, and then finally the last leg with electric aircraft. And we're really trying to show people that it's not like when electric vehicles first came out, there was all these concerns about being underpowered, like it might not be able to make it up a hill, and at one point that was true, but it's come quite a long ways, and we think that this race series can go pretty far in highlighting that.
Hey, Chris, are you recording?
I am.
Okay, great. Wonderful.
We lost Mental.
We lost Mentals. I just want to make sure we could keep going with this, because
tonight I said, I should do that backup for
that
Mental
is
just
great.
to see what happens. Right.
Sorry, listeners. This is how the sausage is made. But sometimes we lose people mid talk. So, good. He's back with us. That's wonderful.
I mean, and I'll keep going now. Dan, you were talking about the multimodal race, which is kind of fun to have that all together, and but got to be a nightmare to organize. But talk more about the other mobility areas that you're involved with. I know you've been involved in aviation. We talked about that you've been sailing too. Like what else you got going on? That all kinds of modals here. Talk a little more.
All the modals.
Well, I want to hear about the race.
We just
did. Left.
Oh, sorry, I left. All right, never mind.
We talked all about the race.
No,
not the multimodal. It's a good thing I was recording this one too. So
I know, not the multimodal race. They're racing the autonomous taxis this December.
Yes,
we didn't get there yet.
Yeah.
Let me share screen here.
And the old joke about the first car race showed up 10 minutes after they produced the second car. And I feel like this is kind of the same thing. Oh, you got your own air taxi? I have an air taxi.
Oh.
I mean, come on, that's you and I in golf carts, and we end up doing this.
Fact. This is demonstrated fact.
All right, so lots of people are listeners only. So what we need to make sure that we're explaining whatever we're watching here.
Yes, certainly. So the race series that'll be showcased down in Australia that Mental referred to, I'm showing on the screen here. They're known as Airspeeder. Now I apologize. Maybe I misspoke. These these vehicles in the initial stage will be uncrewed, but still piloted just like drones today. And they're working towards these vehicles actually being manned, right? So the pilot being on board. That's one of the vehicles pictured there. Here's it, underway. To me, this is a really, really slick design.
Now, how big is this? Like, it's hard to tell from a picture. Like that.
Let me
this big, or could be this room.
Oh, there you go.
So that'll give you at least some sense.
There's really a picture of a
those-
guy who's working on it, and he's leaning over it, and it looks like it's the size of, I don't know,
Like a Formula car, maybe like
Yeah.
Formula Ford.
The nickname they use is Formula One in the skies. It's a single seat, high performance race vehicle. But this will be. We think this has a lot of potential, not only to get people talking about this new form of transportation, but also, despite it being a race and really pushing these vehicles to limits, we think it can go quite a distance in conveying just the sheer safety of these, right? If these are being, absolute max speed, taking tight turns, if you're going to fly in a commercial version, perhaps from your home to an airport to catch an international flight, they're not going to be going max speed, right? So if they can stay safe, at their limits, there's a strong interest in making sure that not only you go slow enough to maintain safety, but you're going slow enough to maintain comfort.
Well, I think that's how they prove the durability of the automobile itself, racing them across the US back when it took a week to do so. Oh,
Right.
There you go. That's actually a good view for scale. Those,
yeah, they're about waist high. Yeah, Formula Car Center is about right, Menzel, plus the extensions for the rotors.
Pods. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
Oh, 10 team by 2 years. That is fantastic.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. They're doing a lot of really, really exciting stuff. And in fact, part of the tie-in here, we at the Advanced Air Mobility Institute, our nonprofit research center, our brand ambassador is very tenacious young woman, Lexi Jansen. She's the world's first female eVTOL racing pilot. So she races in this series. She kind of got her start racing first person view drones, originally from Poland. And she's got such a great message, right, of empowerment. And so we're really trying to bring the excitement of this race series in a way that has such a positive underlying message.
Nice.
I mean, we like women racers, so it's all good.
Yeah. And I can also share for what it's worth, another hat that I wear in this industry. On this page here is the landing page for a startup known as Volatus Infrastructure and Energy Solutions. The co-founder saw it fit to bring me on board and kind of hand over the reins. So as of late July, I'm serving as CEO of this company. The vertiports are what this new form of aircraft will be legally required to land on. That, of course, largely for safety, make sure that people on the ground are clear that this new kind of vehicle, please stay away, right? But the electric mobility charging stations, we have a number of our partners. What I'm showing on the screen here are manufacturers from different parts of the planet. We've got our partners, SkyDrive over in Japan. Evair Mobility down in Brazil. You see they've got it's kind of white labeled with United Airlines markings. I gotta say, United has done they've been very, very active and investing in this space. And it does make a lot of sense. Or you think back to the last time, you went to catch an international flight. It feels like such an undertaking just to get to the airport, right? So the idea here being perhaps one day you can simply walk with suitcase in tow in your neighborhood to some kind of what we call a vertiport, catch that, get you to the airport itself. You've already kind of gone through the process, checked your bags and so forth, and transition to the terminal. These vehicles can outpace the total time for cars over comparable distance by about fourfold.
Nice. I like the Australia one. Looks like a hot rod.
Yes.
The pod racer.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Just random thought. This is. I'm sorry to interrupt. Is there a weight limit on any of these vehicles?
That's an excellent question. So I'll cite one in particular. Opener. They have a vehicle called Blackfly. This caught my eye in particular. They just announced that they're going to open up sales for their first 12. So if any listeners are out there have an interest, definitely encourage, go check out their website. I don't know off the top of my head. I can search that.
We'll have a link in the show notes.
No, it's fine.
Oh, perfect. But the reason that one stuck out in mine, I just barely don't meet the weight limit. It's set at 200 pounds, single seat. And but I'll point to this one here, for example, out of Israel Air. So this is going to be a 2-seat. So of course, in aviation, you got some wiggle room, but perhaps if you and your friend were vastly different sizes, right? It can genuinely create some real issues with the aerodynamics. Truth be told, I don't know. I don't have memorized the weight requirements, but a lot of these vehicles, I mean, they're carrying 4, 5, maybe even 6 passengers.
That's wild.
So it's enough that you can. I was just wondering if you can take anybody. Can you take anything? Just trying to picture, because we have a small plane, and I'm trying to figure out how much you could bring, because I know that we can't bring much if we were to go somewhere. So just trying to picture with what I know.
And that leads me to my next thing. Is I'm curious as to how this is gonna work with airspace in general, which is fairly crowded right now, especially here in the Northeast. It's a mess with all the different classifications and restrictions on airspace. How are these going to work out with the general aviation community as it exists?
So that's one of those $1 million questions, right? It's a case of this technology will impact federal regulations, state laws, municipal ordinance, across the board. There is I don't practice as an attorney now, but I thanking my younger self for having gone to law school, because it's quite convoluted. To your point, there's also
the autonomous aspect of it is an asset or a hindrance as you try to navigate this morass of legislation and rules?
I think, that is a fantastic question. I would say on the front end, it feels like a liability, because it's almost one of those like too much change too soon, in terms of public acceptance, right? I feel like there's a lot of talk that in these initial phases we have to have trained pilots on board, right? That they won't be autonomous. We're dealing with people, right? So
I actually just had a DO retire, and he went and joined the airlines. He got qualified to fly on the 787. and he's coming out of a very analog, older model F-16, and he's now flying this, and he's convinced I'm only there to keep people calm, because literally halfway through the takeoff roll, the autopilot takes over, and he's just there in case something goes wrong.
Yes. And no, that's exactly right, Mental. And it's that's why I would say so there's we're looking at likely three phases. The first being, a trained pilot on board with the passengers. Second phase, they'll come off the aircraft and fly it just like a drone, as we expect today. And then in that third phase, that's when we'll shift to autonomous operations. And it's kind of interesting because, as you recall back in our, time as air battle managers, drone, the formal name of drones being unmanned aerial systems. And I think we're already, there's already a push towards making use of the term uncrewed aerial system, because, the term unmanned, I think it's going to be difficult for some people to wrap their head around. Well, if it's unmanned, then how are there passengers on board, right? And
we've just fallen into the derogatory term of stupid robot pilot.
Right. Yeah, and so it's a case of unmanned always had to do with whether or not there was a trained pilot on board, not whether or not individuals were essentially payload.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Chrissy, I think this leads into your question down there a little bit.
Well, we talked a little bit about safety. I am a safety professional, so I would love to, and I see that's the first thing that's on your mission page. So I would love to know more about what you're doing. We did talk a lot about airspace and making sure that you're landing in the right spot and keeping the passengers and the people on the ground safe. Anything more? Why is safety the top on your list?
So with new technology, I think that's often the very first question, right? If it's new, it's almost a case where if you're an early adopter with new technology and you get hurt or worse, then it's people, I think, are quick to say, well, you're the foolish one, right?
They bought their tickets. They knew what they were getting
into.
into.
I mean, if you can avoid it, you don't want to be the guinea pig, right? So we put safety first because we feel strongly that the general public, that's going to be, top of mind. When we think about safety, I mean, we assume that the original equipment manufacturers are prioritizing that, because that's not a good look, right? That's a case where
Boeing 787. Yeah, sure.
It's going to be hard to have, repeat customers with too many of those headlines. But when we think about safety, it actually goes a step further in that you can very much benefit from this technology from a safety standpoint, even if you are never a passenger, because this technology, eVTOLs, electric vertical takeoff and landing vehicles, as well as the UAS drones, can be a fantastic tool in the life-saving missions conducted by first responders. That's our primary goal, is to do our part to help accelerate access for the public safety mission. Think of search and rescue, right? It's a tough decision to get, for example, a conventional helicopter up in the skies. Very, very expensive. You might be putting that pilot and crew in harm's way, especially in the wake of a natural disaster, right? There may be, power lines that have been downed, lot of complications. But when they're uncrewed, now it's really just becomes a matter of cost.
All right,
That's great.
Let's see. Well, we're because you're answering a lot of these cool stuff that we're getting on there. We talked about the race series in there. So bit of a divergence here. You've got a field of study specialization, and while you were doing law school stuff, you earned a Civil Liberties Award for writing on the implications of unmanned aerial systems on American constitutional law. And there's a lot of people that look at both electrification and autonomous transport as a form of control. But if you're getting the civil liberties people on this, and then just having known you for a while, I feel like there's a movement is freedom vibe here that you guys are shooting for, not control, but actually the opposite, bringing kind of transportation more to the people. If you want to give me the, more refined answer on that one.
Well, I remember, going through some of the show notes and coming across that question. Honestly, I hadn't heard it before, and I think it's fantastic. There's very much, the idea of a universal right to assemble, that is very core to this idea of kind of a silent form of freedom of speech, right? People should be allowed to gather together in support or to demonstrate against decisions of their respective government, of course, in a peaceful way. But absolutely, restricting people's movement and their capacity to travel is certainly an infringement on those freedoms. And what's cool about these vehicles, we can now reach places that were remarkably difficult otherwise, even more nimble than helicopters today.
Oh, helicopters don't fly. I've often said they're just so ugly the earth repels them.
Wow. Okay. That's something else.
Yeah. Okay. So let's see. This is a good interview. So it's structured on there. So you're safe to call you a mobility expert?
I'd sure like to think so. Of course, from an aviation standpoint, loads of experience there, private pilot as well as a drone pilot. I whenever I get a chance, love sailing, to the extent that counts as mobility. Really, there was a streak there where I was just like racking up licenses. I spent a summer working as a horse wrangler up in Wyoming. That was a really nice break from school. And I don't know, what are your guys' thoughts on that? Does horseback riding count as mobility?
All getting you somewhere.
Yeah, gets you somewhere quicker than your legs. So I'd say sure.
And then probably than sailing. Sailing is just going nowhere at great expense while getting wet, essentially. So
depends on the wind.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sure. Yeah. But it was green before it was cool.
Sure.
Right. I came across an article. They were trying to treat it like it was this, check out this breakthrough, innovation. They were saying, a team of engineers proposed the idea: what if for our ocean faring shipping international
container ships, right? Let's
Yeah,
power
container
with
ships.
wind. We got a lot.
Yeah, let's put massive parachutes on these things, and it's like, how you guys read any books about sailing? Like,
right. I did read something recently about that. They basically have essentially vertical wings that they're adding to the top of these things now as the way to do it, like America's Cup kind of yachts. Which hey, why not? It's there. You've got the wind half the time at least. It helps. It'll add up, and over the life of a container ship, it'll probably pay for itself and then some.
Definitely. I did get to do a really cool trip. I'm not sure if I ever told you about this, Mental, but one of my best friends.
Can I trouble you to exit the full screen real quick, just so like people, because thank you. Just so people can
Mental
people can
wants
see
everyone to see his hair. That's really what
everyone
it
knows
is.
my hair. You can see my hair. You can see my hair from space. But no, you're about to share something, a really cool trip. So we want to get the big
No,
screen
absolutely.
for YouTube.
Yeah. Let's see. So yeah, one of my absolute best friends from ROTC in Indiana. He's originally from Colombia. Really, really cool guy. He was a fighter pilot. And, you know, and the whole like, you know, need for speed. So he had an idea for a motorcycle trip. We went from the Pacific coast in Chile over the Andes Mountains into Mendoza wine country. You know, all on motorcycle, and that was a cool trip.
Hey, what kind of bikes?
Dual
Dual sports or like the old school Royal Einfelds?
Mine was a Honda.
Okay. Fair enough. Probably dual sport.
Dual sports. Yep.
Yeah.
You know, I think I was really kicking myself. He's like he had been riding for at least a decade, right? And I thought, well, I've only been riding for a year, and my thought was, when we're renting these, he got, you know, this level, and I went for the much cheaper one. But by the time we got back, and of course, like, you know, my ass hurts like hell, I realized, no. If you have less experience, you should opt for the more expensive rental, precisely because you have less experience. You need more help, really, right? More comfort,
more power,
features,
yeah.
more power, all those things. Yeah. So I learned my lesson on that one. Definitely.
Right. So when those autonomous cars come out, just buy the comfy one. That feels like the smart plan on that one.
That's the takeaway. Yeah.
Yeah. Now we're not quite there yet, but I know you've got another call coming up. So obviously folks can check you out at the Advanced Air Mobility Institute, the airspeeder.com website, as well as some of the other stuff. What other links? And we'll have these in the show notes. Where can people go online that want to keep reading about this?
So another website, vie.solutions. The timing of this is great because literally today we launched the rebrand of Volatus Infrastructure and Energy Solutions. So it's hot off the presses.
Excellent. All right, cool. And I follow you on the gram, but I don't know how, you want to keep that private or not, but if you want to get jealous of somebody that's taking gourmet cooking classes or doing stand-up comedy in Boston or horse wrangling or riding motorcycles across Colombia. Yeah. Weren't you just in, was it Japan, with a communications conference? Am I getting those wires crossed?
And where was I?
I mean, method doesn't get the truth will get in the way of a good story. So just say, yeah, sure. Sounds
Just
good.
agree. Yeah. You were somewhere cool doing doing something cool.
I think that's what it was. Our partners from Japan, we like co-hosted a conference with them to their for the launch of their US operations.
Awesome. Fantastic.
Awesome.
All right.
Yeah.
So yeah. All right. And yeah, that's everything. And you don't want to give up your Instagram. That's cool. I understand.
Oh no, I'm sorry. In fact, this is one of those cute puns that Tony V was teasing me about. The Instagram is at rootbeer_sloat.
Oh, that's good. Oh, that's cute in a positive way. I like that one. That's cute.
Yeah.
All right.
Memorable too. I like it.
And stay with us for as long as you want. We're gonna, I guess, move. Are we covering everything? What else are we missing? What's the big push you want to throw in there? Otherwise, we're gonna go up and talk about not flying cars, but
Stupid car stuff.
Other stupid car stuff.
I remember, Chrissy, you had an elevator example.
I did. Yep. Hold on one second. That was part of my safety professional. Yes. First human operated transport system that went autonomous was the elevator. There was resistance. So where are your key efforts in keeping autonomous vehicles safe is what my question was. But we talked about safety. So if you want to add to that, you can.
Well, the transition from elevators, being, that there was the public felt that there needed to be a professional on board, right? That people couldn't possibly be trusted to step on board and, push the button to
I
that
feel that
corresponded
way
with their
now with a lot of things.
Oh, absolutely.
Ideally,
Because you're
what
on the
happens when
elevator,
they-
you're
when
on the
they
elevator
don't.
and you push the button waiting on it and someone else walks up. And if the elevator's not there, clearly you didn't push the button hard enough. So they push it
Right.
again. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And there's actually, that's the hope with these, with greater levels of autonomy, that, people just get on board. Where do you need to go? Right. It should be as simple as a single button. And there's certainly a lot of joy in being able to operate a vehicle, any direction at any speed. But if you're especially on a daily commute, I know as soon as these are available, I'm gonna really prefer, right? So I can maybe zone out, catch up on the news, make a phone call to a loved one. There is a lot of freedom in just getting to where you need to go. So I think this is a really, really exciting time in mobility.
Sky's the limit, right? There's plenty of stuff, plenty of opportunity there.
Exactly.
Well, so yeah, hang on, drop off whenever you want, but we're just going to get back into other car stuff here. So, but nice talking to you, Dan. Happy trails, tight lines, and whatever the aviation equivalent is. Don't let your prop fall off. So,
yeah, that's good.
Awesome.
Like
Thank
that.
you.
Okay.
All right. What are we starting with?
I think we got to talk about
we talked
racing
about
junk,
this. Yeah, because we were talking about cars that steal your data.
right?
Personal
You know what
data.
won't steal your data? 2002 Ginetta G20 on RacingJunk.com. 12 grand, almost ready to race.
Let's see.
It's got a full roll cage, NASCAR sidebars, Kirky seat, G-force restraints with expired dates, of
Oh.
course. Fire system, quick release wheel, AEM, EMS, engine management on a Miata BP 1.8 liter. It's dyno tuned to 155 horsepower. Comes with a 5-speed manual out front of Miata and a short shift kit, Miata diff, Wilwood brakes, coilovers, all kinds of good stuff. Listed for $12,000. And it's actually sent me down a rabbit hole on what is a Ginetta G20. How is it all put together? This particular car was on Bring a Trailer earlier this year with like 100 and something pictures, if you really want to see some good pictures, including receipts from being worked on by John Pagel's shop in California several years
that
ago.
means
I did not know that.
well,
there you
means
go.
it's yep. Good cage.
Super safe. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is it's got lights. It's got a
cute.
title. Like it was made in England to be street legal. It weighs about 1,300 pounds. It
looks
this
like
is
a Miata somebody stepped on.
Yeah, or that like they put in the dryer a little too long.
Yeah, like it kind of looks like a little stretchy, and yeah.
So
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
this has got to
funky.
be a riot to drive. It's gonna be a little tough getting in and out with those wide-shouldered Kirkies in the cage and stuff, but streetable track car. I mean, this thing, and for 12 grand with all Miata mechanicals, like how? This is actually
it's
quite
in Vegas.
This is actually quite a bargain here. I know. If only we had a friend who needed an even less practical 2-seat convertible to drive around Vegas than the two that he already has.
That's what I was concerned about.
Yeah.
Well, technically, the 911's a 4-seater. There's just a speaker over the seats, so you can't get into that.
Well, anything's a
that's not
4-seater
yours,
if you
so it's
stuff
okay.
small people in the back. Then
Hey, I've had 8 people in a Miata at a point. Come on, or on it somehow. Anyway, that's a good deal right there. I like that.
And it's and that rabbit hole is exactly the way you should go to Racing Junk and just get a pro membership. Use that code POD23. Because did any of that make you angry enough to yell at your computer? No. Just joy scrolling.
Yeah,
Racing Junk.
I learned about Ginetta. So
And they also have so many different, this isn't even scripted. They have so many different categories. You're just like, I know nothing about this, even just racing subject. I'm like, what kind of cars? Like, you just buy an LMP2 car on Racing Junk. You're just like, who goes to Racing Junk to buy an LMP2 car? But it's amazing. You just find out this, like tractor pulls. Just go look at all the tractor pulls.
Yep. And soon, according to Dan, they're going to have racing EV tolls on racingjunk.com. It's going to be awesome.
I'm sure.
Dan, thanks for stopping by. It's great to see you. We'll talk about that other thing soon and reach out to me. Good. Best of luck to you. And if you get a chance, send me all those, anything else you want to promote. We'll put that in the show notes. Thanks for stopping by.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you all.
Thanks, Dan.
All right. We jump
All right.
into
Upcoming races?
no.
No, because
I was like,
there's no upcoming
I
races.
was already.
I know.
jumped in.
No, there's none.
Wah,
Wah,
wah.
wah.
Oh, not yet anyway. All right, we're going to fly through these because heads up, we're going to talk about it more next week. But the winner on laps was Gorilla Sticker, one word.
Winner on laps of what?
Yeah. We didn't
Oh,
say
HPR. We were at HPR. I'm sorry. High Plains Raceway
Mental
in
was at High Plains Raceway.
beautiful Colorado. Well, he was there, but we're talking about the race results for it. So, okay, this is True 24. I can't wait to talk about it. I'm so excited. You should be too. So the winner on laps at HPR was a Gorilla Sticker, one word, in the 517, a BMW 325.
Boring.
Boring.
It was boring. It was also good, unholy fast, but yeah.
Boring.
Winner for B class, which was the Flog again,
like Hoonigan, but with flog.
Flog
And
again.
it was painted up like one of the Hoonigan cars.
Okay, in a number 43 2000 Golf. Oh, such corner of my heart. Winner in Class C is the TDI Soar Racing in a VW Jetta TDI.
Schlong, baby.
That's fun. Org Choice went to Trash Racing in a Ford Crown Victoria. Judge's Choice went to Doppler Racing in a 325. And Heroic Fix.
So funny story about that one. We talked about the judges were Mary, Bob, Corey, and Tom.
We did not talk about this, but okay.
Well,
We
last
will
week
next
on
week.
last week on the show.
Okay.
And this is one of the things that Eric has been trying to implement, is having, more judges who kind of have done the series and understand what's going on. They were struggling, not for attitude, just out of a complete sheer lack of knowledge. And after like the third time they came in to the penalty box, Mary says, okay, I want you to go down to this pit and I want you to find a guy named Anton Lovett. And I want you to have a talk with him. And Anton ended up driving their car a couple of stints, and they made some adjustments, and then they broke the car. And when they needed some parts, because Anton was standing there, another team came by and said, here you go. I had these in my trailer. And it was just, and they were very open, very receptive. They were a good team, and they really did deserve that award. But it is, I think, the fruit of Eric Rude's labor in trying to get people who understand this series now and keep it going and keep it happy.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I think that's why Lemons is awesome. So yes, but we agree from the working side of that as well. All right. So lastly, I have eBay's Heroic Fix went to Arc Blast, the number 666 in a Datsun 620.
All electric vehicle.
Really?
No kidding. Good for them.
That's exciting. Is it the first
Well,
one?
has potential to be. No, it's not the first all electric. The Jet Electrica 007 was run by Duff Beer back in the day at
okay.
CMP. Yeah.
This one was a little bit quicker, but ran about the same amount of time.
Yep. All right. I got screwed. Went to Kowloon Express in their Infinity G20. The Yokohama Road Mangler Cup. Are you saying there's something wrong with? They found the
are you saying that there's something wrong with my gear? They bought one of Chris Overzet's old cars. It's that Jaguar. Good.
The next JS. So I mean, it's at least looking good while they're on tires.
No,
they got some tires though. They got tires.
Yeah.
They got tires.
The people that are dedicated to this tire game they're really excited. So
well, I mean, Corky up here hasn't paid for tires in like 2 years because he keeps winning them. for
Right.
example. Right.
And they actually loaned their tires to the 1957 Dodge truck when they wore theirs out. So it turns out Jaguar rims bolted right up to it.
Even better. The regional award was YU Brake Classic, went to Green Beret Racing in their Plymouth Satellite. IOE Soiled Suits Racing in their 74 Camaro, but A. What? And Halloween Meat Gasoline was Savage Orchid in their 2.
Do the wrestling thing again, or did they do something else?
Oh, your microphone went haywire there, little buddy.
Sometimes. Let me wiggle this. I'll go back.
They did it was a McDonald's.
Would you want hold on.
Oh,
okay. I want to save something for next week because I want to hear all about it next week, but save some.
Not a problem.
Okay, you can tell us all the stories next week. Let's talk a little bit of
Yes, listener feedback. I posted a picture of the rear of the Salty Thunder Corvette before we started the race, and lots of people loved it. On Facebook, Matt F said Boner Pills, which was our sponsor, and Kofifi, which was the vanity plate, is the breakfast of champions, and he's not wrong.
I mean, sure.
And Josh K observed that, fun fact, it's the only Corvette made on a Tuesday by a partially blind dog with an E1R sticker on the back. 101.
Wow,
clap,
Josh K. Thanks for that.
Yep.
All right. On YouTube, we had some more comments.
It's Probably Fine said, I enjoy any episode with Rude. He gets 2 Stargle stars for the Pillbox Pirates hat.
Wow.
Okay. It was a pretty fly hat.
All right. Wes Sykes said a street circuit for 24 hours of lemons would be the poop emoji. I'd vote Chicago or Detroit.
Now the Ronster, because we were talking about the getting Uncle Dave into the thing. Ronster said, truth be told, that Mark Martin Wreck tribute wasn't Uncle Dave's car or my creation. It was just the cover pic on that post, which is pretty cool. But that doesn't mean Ronster still had like a really cool setup for Uncle Dave's car. And if you are looking for a professional level iRacing skin for your car for like the price of a case or a 6-pack of beer, you get a hold of Ronster wraps.
Always does.
And who doesn't need a wrap on her car because it's brand new?
Correct. That is true.
Mom.
I mean, she might want one. Maybe Cat's the beach. I don't know. Maybe she does want one.
I'm just happy she's in a new Honda. That means I don't have to work on it at all.
Yes.
Oh, she got what she get?
RDX.
Oh, very nice. Like,
I mean, we've been talking about this for literally before COVID, maybe years before COVID. We went to the
the Mazda 5 trucking. Yeah.
All right. So she got rid of the Mazda 5. And
no, still has it. That'll get passed down to
down.
Okay.
Passed
now
around.
they have 3. So they didn't get rid of Snowflake, did they?
No,
would be a little
no.
I mean, someday, but it's still chugging along.
Kind of like, we can be heartbroken about the cars you sold of ours. So there's that.
He hasn't sold them. He just breaks them. So
I told you those cars were coming to me to die.
Yeah,
I know. I am
as
hospice.
much as we hospice, as much as we have some heartache about it.
Well, it's still here. It's not gone. It's still sitting in the driveway.
You don't have that big of a yard.
It's still broken. Yeah,
it is, and it's probably something simple to fix. But
just put the intake manifold back on with the new gaskets.
I did.
Okay.
You guys didn't listen to last week's episode. The Mercedes got all bolted back together, and I am still getting random misfires bouncing around that engine.
Did you replace the PCV valve hose thing? On
absolutely.
The back?
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Came with it and cleaned all the oil off from it. Had the injectors redone. I'm not getting the running and also all new, of course, because they're aluminum bolts, all new intake bolts. Still getting the running or not getting the running lean anymore, but I'm getting the random misfires, and it won't idle. It's still not blowing smoke. It's still not eating coolant. It's still not overheating. So if anyone wants a 180,000 mile AMG 6.3, you're gonna have to trailer it yourself.
Very well maintained for the first 140,000 miles.
Exactly, and then very well abused for the next 50 or so. But it'll drive onto a trailer. Comes with a lot of wheels. Like as Chrissy said, I don't have that much space. I don't have that much time, and
don't have space.
I'm having to draw some very hard lines, trying to get rid of the RV and some other things just to, simplify my existence. Yeah.
And add lightness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, just, less stuff, more experiences.
Oh yeah. I'm down.
I mean, our life actually.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I'm trying. You just need to get the stupid Corvette to go away.
Oh, that's true. And it's just taking up room in the driveway. Does anybody want a Corvette? Anybody know if they want
I'll tell you that after driving the C4 this weekend, folks, look, everyone can make fun of it all they want. That's a good car. Fast.
I wouldn't say it's good.
I wouldn't go that far. That's excessive.
Well, hey, if anyone in the show wanted ours, they'd already would have talked to me. But it's gonna end up on Haggerty Auctions, no reserve, coming up soon. So
that's right. And we are absolutely going to talk about that on Bid Nerds. I will make it a point.
You better.
Heck yeah, that would be awesome.
Indeed.
Right. So I am all out of whack because we went out of order. I think that's it.
Yeah. Unless we have a just the tip, hella sweet but terrible.
I have been trying to come up with just the tip. I feel like I talk about
don't crash into autonomously flying cars. Watch out for those.
Good idea. And if you see
Safety pilot,
I'm gonna be concerned because I'm gonna say, am I alive? What world am I in? Because it's when they get here, it's gonna be weird.
Well, all right, so here we go. On the spot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you think that racing these little tiny eVTOLs is going to help with acceptance of their safety or hinder it?
It all depends on how it goes. If they just repeatedly crash into each other and giant balls of fire,
yes, that's people aren't going to love that.
Good,
right? Well, I think yes, I agree, and I think it's not going to go so well in theory because racing is accepted by most people because of how safe it is now. It has not always been that way. And how many years ago did you have a little leather cap and no roll bar and little leather gloves? And that was what you drove in. And it was acceptable for at least one driver to die a race. And like now that's like freaking unheard of. So I think it's going to be a while until it's accepted and people think it's going to be safer.
Safety, people accepting safety comes based on actual proof of it. And even then, how many people are scared on a commercial airline flight, which is really
barely proven
a pretty safe way to travel.
Barely proven.
But driving their Ultima on 3 temporary spares and bad ball joints down the highway in a highway time trial 120, that's fine.
Because if they're late one more time this week, they're going to lose their job, and then that's going to, the child support payments, they've already got a lien against them. I think this is a great opportunity. The Reno air races, this is the last year because these are old. Some of them are jets, but most of them were World War II era planes, and they race them around pylons, and they are losing that. And I feel like there is a gap that these autonomous little things can fill. And if you've ever even watched the mini drone races inside some of these coliseums, they do a really good job of packaging it and making it interesting. And they are quick. And I think these little air taxis buzzing around are going to be interesting as well. I think the speed of it and the presentation is going to appeal to non-aviation or racing enthusiasts just as something that's cool and fun. And I think then when the chance comes to grab one of these air taxis to the airport rather than an actual taxi to the airport, they're going to jump in the opportunity. And having ridden in a taxi last November in the town that I live in, I will jump into one of these things. I will jump into the Nissan Altima equivalent of an eVTOL before I will get into another cab in this city. Tura or a Lyft or an Uber, that's fine because those people own those cars. But man, the guy driving our cab, did not care. No mechanical sympathy or even traffic empathy. So at least with an autonomous vehicle, they are going to operate on a baseline of not trying to murder everyone in order to get back to the airport as quickly as possible and get that next fare.
I'm sorry that you're so passionate about this. Obviously, this has triggered something.
Well, not just that. Yeah, I like. We looked at the rates because there was a bit of a surge pricing on the Ubers, and we're like, all right, at this one time we'll take a cab. And as he dropped us off, I looked at Vicky and went, never again.
I didn't die. Yay, I didn't die.
Oof, yeah. But it like you talk about, the Ultima doing that. This guy's in a 200,000+ mile RAV4. And he is treating the gas pedal like it is an analog switch. It was either all the way on or all the way off. And he is just slicing through traffic. Turn signals apparently were a sign of weakness. And to steal Jeff's joke, I look over at the dashboard and it's all of the lights, including one of a tiny Dutch boy with 3 fingers and holes in a, dike on there. This was not a cared for vehicle. And at any given point, I was waiting for it to fall apart. And I've never seen a Turo or an Uber driver do that. So,
oh, you're funny. This is funny.
All right.
And when Mental says your shit is janky, you should take notice.
Your shit is janky. Yeah, that's saying something. Shoot. And
any idea what we're talking about next week?
I am so excited. So a True 24, I've been to one. I would never want to go back again. Is super hard. It's even harder when a team that has never raced together in that car. The car's only been built for one race, and it's the middle of nowhere. That's what Salty Thunder Racing did at High Plains True 24 last weekend. So we're going to talk about it, find out how the C4 did, and how the experience was, and how was the paddock, and how's the race, and all that good stuff. So I can't wait to hear about it.
Yep. Cool. Well, thanks for downloading us, everybody. We hope you enjoyed this week's edition of Everyone Racers. Also hope to join us in the world of driving, racing, autonomous vehicles, and building, just because anyone can fly things, apparently, when they don't have to. They're sitting there and push a button. If you enjoyed the podcast, subscribe. It's free. Go to iTunes, give us a 5-star rating. No matter what you think, give us that 5 stars and tell us why. Questions, comments, show ideas, thoughts, random outbursts, emotional problems, whatever, we're listening. All over the social medias at Everyone Racers or everyone.racers. Text Mental. He wants to hear about your problems at 484-243-0455. Anywhere you can think of, we're there. And thanks again for reading.
Except for Twitch. We're pretty much done with that crap. So yeah.
Twitch, yeah, or X. Yeah, no, fine. Any of the ones that people are actually using, maybe. Whatever. Thanks again for listening. And until next week, keep the side with the rotors facing up, unless you don't have rotors, and then tires. Keep the wheels down. Yeah, keep the wheels down. That's good.
All right.